And jumping on with you tonight, it's a weird time for me. I usually go live at 3 o'clock on Tuesdays, but I had a bunch of clients today and some other things I had to take care of. So I thought this would be different and kind of fun to jump on in the evening with you. And the reason I wanted to talk to you today, I've been sharing a bunch of stuff this week on my Instagram and last week as well, actually, about my journey with MS and with essentially overcoming it. I was diagnosed with MS in 2005, and I was 22 years old. And a lot of the things that I experienced and a lot of the things that I used to help move forward and help kind of leave MS behind are things that ultimately can apply to a lot of people. So if you're hearing this and thinking, I don't have MS, like, do I need to listen to this? Why does this matter to me? When we look at health and kind of from a broad perspective, a lot of the times the reason that the body is giving you health challenges, why you're having symptoms, why you're having things come up over and over again, it's because your body is reacting to something in your environment. Maybe it's a food that you're eating, maybe it's a stress that you're under, and this can be the reason that you're having the symptoms that you're having. And for me, that was one of the biggest realizations that I came to that ultimately helped me move forward with my health was recognizing that the foods that I was eating, my body didn't like them. And so because of these foods, my body was attacking. And when it comes to an autoimmune disease, like, a lot of the times we're taught that autoimmune means your body's attacking itself. But ultimately, our bodies are really smart. They're not trying to beat themselves up. They're not trying to give you symptoms just for fun. You're having symptoms because there's something in your system that doesn't belong there. And your body is trying to attack it to get it out of you. If you think if you have a cold, your immune system attacks that because it's trying to get you healthy, and the cold is going to make you not feel good. So, when we can think about things as like, why was my body attacking itself when I had the autoimmune condition? Why was my body doing that? And it's like, what was there that my body was trying to protect me from? And for all situations of health, this can apply. If you're dealing with headaches, if you're dealing with really heavy PMS or really heavy periods, if you're dealing with skin issues, what is the body trying to protect you from that's leading to the symptoms that you're dealing with? And so for me, like I said, food was a really big problem. So when I started to like do a little bit more research and figure out what were the foods that were causing problems and cut them out, my body was able to heal and was able to recover. And so food is a big one for people. Environmental stuff. So chemicals are a really big problem. If you deal with hormone imbalance, chemicals, even things like chlorine, chemicals that are in our beauty products. So your shampoo, your face cream, all of the things that we put on our skin all the time, if your body is trying to protect you from those, that can lead to symptoms and that can lead to the problems that you have. It could be stress. We deal with a lot of stress on a daily basis, especially in the last 3 years. There's been more stress than a lot of people have experienced previously. And this is plays takes a toll on your system, and it's something that we often don't even consider. And so if your body is trying to keep you safe all the time, which it is, and trying to protect you from the things that don't belong in your system, and attacking those things, sometimes your tissues can get caught in the crossfire. And now I have this understanding that when I was having the MS issues, having the flare ups every 6 months, when I was getting more and more lesions in my brain and spinal cord, which is kind of a telltale sign of MS, it's like, what was my body attacking that my tissues were getting caught in the crossfire? And that could have been heavy metals. I didn't have a quantum nutrition testing practitioner when I was diagnosed with MS, but thankfully I found that further down the road and been able to really dig deeper. Because when I started to work on my own MS issues, I was on my own. It was 2011. I saw a video from Dr. Terry Walls, who's kind of a forerunner when it comes to MS and people being able to use nutrition and holistic options to improve their health. And I saw this video where she was talking about how she used food to reverse her MS symptoms. And I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do that." I'd been on medication and injecting myself every day for about 7 years at that time, and I was done. I was like, "I can't do this anymore. I need to find another solution." And that's when I heard Dr. Terry Wall's video. And a lot of the times it's amazing. The universe will have your back and will send you things when you need to hear it most. And for me, this video came at exactly the right time, because if I had seen it or if it had come across my, across my computer, a couple months before or a year before, I wouldn't have been ready to appreciate it and to get the message from it. So I saw this video and I was just like, "Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm changing my food. I'm going to change my health. I'm gonna get better." And it was the first time that I'd had this awareness that I can get better and I can do something that's going to help me feel better. And ultimately, that journey that I went on with changing my diet, with starting to feel better, and then thinking, okay, what else can I do? I did all this with food. I've been taking medication for the last 7 years and just getting sicker. And all I did was change my diet and I'm feeling better. There's got to be more I can do. And I continued to explore and look for things. But ultimately, I was able to reverse all of my symptoms. It took me about 5 years. And that's where, now that we have the tools like quantum nutrition testing or nutrition response testing, we're able to test people and find out what the triggers are like now. So you can know, okay, what is causing my body to act the way it is? And if I can remove that, or if I can give the body the support it needs to deal with that better, then you're able to get healthier quicker, which is amazing. So yeah, that was my journey with figuring out like, okay, this Terry Walls, she's reversing her symptoms and she's just changing her diet. And this is a really good message for people because that's what I want to share with you is that there are things you can do. A lot of the times I know I was led to believe in the past that if your health wasn't going well or there's something was wrong, that the solution was to go to the doctor and the doctor would fix it. From a young age, I was taken to the doctor anytime I had a sniffle or a cough, and it was like, "Nope, the doctor will help you get better." And my experience with dealing with MS and with going the medical route and not getting better, that helped me to open my eyes to realize that it's everything is not as it seems, and there are things you can do for yourself. So, I've been sharing my story a bit this week about my journey with MS, and ultimately, like, I went through hard times as well. There were times where I couldn't speak properly. I got really quiet and really, withdrawn because my brain still worked properly, but I used to say to people, it's like there's a short circuit between my brain and my mouth because I know exactly what I wanted to say and I couldn't communicate it properly. And to not be able to communicate or to speak to people, it's really hard to deal with. And so that was something that was really challenging. I dealt with a lot of nerve pain for a long time. I dealt with balance and coordination issues. I dropped a lot of coffee cups. I have a very mismatched set of coffee cups at this point because I dropped one, two, or even three of the set. I used to be exhausted all of the time. I felt nauseous depending on the medication I was on. The last MS medication that I was on, I felt nauseous all of the time. I would get this horrible like, if you've ever, taken pre-workout, I think a lot of people maybe have, that burning sensation that you get when you take pre-workout, the one medication I was on, it was like that times 1,000. It felt like I was dipping my head in a bucket of, like, acid every time I took this medic it was awful. So I dealt with a lot of stuff through my MS journey, and ultimately, I was at the point where, I went to my doctor, I would have a relapse, things were not really getting better, and he said, "Oh, you're getting into kind of secondary progressive, we may have to talk about a wheelchair at some point," and that for me was, like, devastating. I was, I think, in my early 30s, if that, if even 30, and doctors were saying, "You're gonna be in a wheelchair." And realizing, okay, I need to do something. There's got to be something better. There's got to be something I can do. And then I saw this video about this doctor who was using food to help herself get better. And I was like, okay, we're on to something. I was very much, a science-minded person in the past. I didn't believe in the voodoo and the whatever, the, woo-woo kind of holistic way of doing things, but having the experience of changing my diet, and within 30 days, I was feeling a bit better. It didn't fix everything, but it was the first time on my journey that I started to feel a change, and it was a change that I had created. And so that was a really big thing for me, and it's been a really big thing that's also led to my journey to help other people improve their health naturally as well. I'm a holistic nutritionist. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, but I'm not just a nutritionist. I'm someone who nutrition pretty much saved my life when it was on the line. I didn't want to continue living the way I was living on the medication and not feeling good. And nutrition made a really big difference for me. And after going through that experience, I looked around and saw there are so many people who feel like they don't have options, who feel like the medical route is the only way you can go. And this is not at all to bash medicine. Medicine is very valuable and it's very important. But I think what we need to start realizing again is that medicine is designed for emergencies. And we're at the point where medicine is used for everything. And when medicine is used over and over and over again, the body isn't given the chance to do what it's trying to do. Your body is always trying to help you get better. And when you can support it and give it what it needs to be able to do that, your health can improve. I was at a point, like I said, where my doctor was talking about we may have to look at a wheelchair soon. And I'm now at a point where I have no MS symptoms. I'm talking to you on camera, which I never would have done, when was that? Like 6 or 7 years ago. I never would have done a lot of the things I do now because my health wouldn't have let me. And now I'm able to do these things. And that's why I love sharing nutrition and sharing a holistic point of view with clients and with people to realize that there are options for you. If medicine has told you there's nothing you can do, or this is just going to be your life for the rest of your life, you don't have to just accept that. You can do other things. You kind of the first step is to decide, right? Like when the doctor said to me, "You're gonna end up in a wheelchair," that was a turning point for me because I was like, "No friggin' way is that gonna happen. I'm gonna do whatever I have to do, whatever it takes to make sure that's not the case, to make sure I help myself get better." And if you're in a place where you're looking for solutions, you're looking for support, this is where I can help you. We test our clients from head to toe, all of your organs and glands, to figure out what's the cause. Why are you having the issues that you're having? If I had had this form of testing back then, it wouldn't have taken me 5 years to realize what were the actual foods that my body didn't like and what were the lifestyle things that I was doing that weren't supporting me moving towards health. And, what were the environmental things and the stresses that were causing me to stay stuck and not be able to get healthy. And so this is something now that we can test you for and find out for you quickly, what does the body need to start moving forward? I'm not saying that you're going to get healthy and perfect and we're going to fix everything overnight. Everything happens in phases, but we can start moving you in the right direction. So if you are looking for support, if you are looking for help, send me a message. We can go from there and figure out what's going on with you, if we're a good fit to work together. And if we are, awesome. If not, then I hope you find someone who is a really good fit for you. Because at the end of the day, we need to take control of our health. We are our own best advocate when it comes to our health. And we need to appreciate that and start to support our bodies to be able to move towards better things. Because when you ignore the health problems, they don't get better on their own. And things get harder and harder and harder the longer you put them off. So hopefully you found this valuable. Hopefully you got something from this. And again, if you need support, want my support, want to know more about working with me, send me a message and we'll go from there. So I hope you have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of your evening.